My mower wouldn't start, so what's the first thing you do? You throw parts at it. Yeah, I have to admit, I threw some parts at the mower, and it wasn't the parts that I threw at it that were defective. It was the starter relay, so let me tell you what happened. Well, the first thing I did was I shot the messenger. That's right, the battery was dead, or it wasn't completely dead, it just didn't have enough electrons in it to move the starter to crank the engine. So I charged it up, and when I charged it up, the starter made a lot of funny noises. And if you ever had a bad starter, you know what I'm talking about. It would engage the flywheel but not turn. It wasn't the clicking sound. I didn't hear the clicking sound, but it definitely had a bunch of starter noises. And I could charge the battery up overnight and get it started the next day, which should have been a clue, but I didn't do that. Instead, I took the starter off and took it all apart, cleaned it up, put it back together, found nothing wrong with it, worked fine, which was very silly of me. It's also a very expensive starter. It went like $350 for that stupid thing. But anyway, so now I've shot 2 messengers and still had a problem with the mower. So now that I wasted money by buying a new battery, it was 7 years old, but believe it or not, it's still good. But I bought a new one anyway, and I cleaned out the starter and saw that the starter was a very simple motor, and the brushes were fine, everything was fine, cleaned it up, no problem. I could test it on the bench, get it to work just fine. That led me to what I should have figured out by testing, and that is the starter solenoid. So sometimes the starter would spin without engaging the flywheel. That happened a few times. The engine cranked slowly, so I thought I was dealing with an engine issue. That was really bothering me because it only has 70 hours on it, and I thought, oh man, I don't want to tear into that and work on the pressure relief aspect of the crank, and I was just going nuts. So I finally got the ohm meter out and started testing, and sure enough, there it was, starter solenoid problem. So this one has a plug-in, has 2 wires on it, a brown one and a black one. The brown one is the starter coming in, and the black one is the ground going out. So when you turn the key, the brown wire is energized. That energizes the coil that connects the battery, which I have marked L for left, and the starter motor, which I have marked R for right, because I wanted to put it back exactly the way it was. It would come up, make that connection, juice would go to the starter and start it up. So no problem there. So let's look at the starter solenoid. Alright, let's see what I get here across the terminals. 0. And across here should be 0. Well, there's nothing connected. So, interesting. Let's take this apart. So we have 4 rivets to drill out. Okay, I got the rivets drilled out here. So we have a end cap that bolts down to the frame. Have like a plunger catcher. Have like a cork gasket. And we have our electronics, it looks like. Let's see if I can get that out. So I'll take this little piece of tape off. And it looks like we can get something out here. Let me jiggle with it. And I got like the plunger guide off of there. And there's the coil that's going to connect these two leads here. Okay, I'm going to have to desolder that if I'm going to take it apart. Alright, we'll just let my soldering iron warm up. Alright, I got the first one out. Let me work on the second one. I don't know if I can do this on camera because I got to look at the work. And there we go, we're out. So it's a coil pack. And there's the two contact areas. Doesn't look too bad. Looks a little dirty in there. I don't know. Maybe it's just not enough contact area. I mean, this is just the pins. Oops. There's just the pins right there. I mean, I guess there is some buildup. Let me see if I zoom in here. Interesting. Gosh, I guess I could just rotate it over this way. Maybe clean that up and it's good to go. Alright, well, a little is a lot in this case. Well, there's the starter solenoid. I mean, as soon as I replaced it, everything went back to normal. So I didn't have to replace the battery. I didn't have to overhaul the starter. Just needed to replace the starter solenoid. So just be careful if your battery dies on your zero-turn mower. It's not necessarily your battery. Charge it up. See if it holds a charge. I know you want to use it, but charge it up. See if it holds a charge. If it holds a charge, you know, 13 volts or so. If it tests good, then your cold cranking amps test good, then hey, probably your starter solenoid. Luckily it's separate and I don't have to buy a whole starter. Well, anyway, there's a starter solenoid in Gravely Aaron's system. They're all pretty much the same. It's just sometimes these are not pins, these are terminals and they're exposed and the wires just clip on there. Really doesn't matter, positive, negative, negative, positive. You know, it's activating the coil, which causes this bar to come up here and complete the circuit to juice the starter. Anyway, I appreciate you watching my video. Have a great day.